my talk is going to be about how you can use AI to enhance your media experiences and improve your productivity when it comes to media and how you deliver media on your websites. So before I start, I've got a few slides where I'm going to talk about what is visual media, what is a good visual media experience. I pulled some information from a couple of our state of visual media reports that we do. So every year we go out and we assess the state of visual media across the web, and we pull in some statistics and we kind of do a bit of thought leadership around the current state of visual media. So I'm going to introduce just some bits and pieces that I've taken out from this year and last year's visual media reports. But the idea here is that your visual media on your website can be your biggest competitive advantage. So if you're e-commerce or a website that has lots and lots of visual media, it's really, really important that you provide a great visual media experience for your users. And yeah, I'm going to run through a little bit more about visual media, and then we'll dive into some examples of how you can use Cloudinary and combine that with AI to take those media experiences to the next level and improve your productivity. So this is a quote that I've pulled out from one of our reports, and it's about how the performance of your visual media around new product launches is becoming increasingly important. By performance of visual media, we're talking about how it's perceived by the users, but also the performance of how that loads on your website. It's really important that you want to have your sites loading as fast as possible. So, by optimizing that visual media, you're going to improve the performance of your site, and in turn improve the performance of that visual media. And yeah, when it comes to these new products and promotions, it's really, really important to improve that performance. So this statistics is a little bit old now, but it is still relevant. I kind of want to introduce you to the concept of scale and how big scale is when it comes to visual media. So between 2019 and 2022, image bandwidth on the web grew by 25%. And when we're looking at video traffic for retail and e-commerce, that was up by 37%. So this is huge numbers of images being transferred via your websites across the web. And when it comes to video, this is a market that for us is growing massively. Lots more people are using videos for retail, for e-commerce to try and sell their products. And so it's really important that you provide that great experience, and you do it for all of the assets that you've got. So as I mentioned, scale is a massive thing, especially within e-commerce. To give some context, we have customers that have millions of media assets stored within their Cloudinary accounts, and they're transferring terabytes of images and videos. It's serious amounts of scale, and this for e-commerce, for large e-commerce customers, is normal. They're having to manage and deliver and optimize millions and millions of assets. So when we're looking at scale, we're wanting to look at how we can optimize that and how we can do things that we can use over and over again, because to try and handle and manage these things manually one by one is just not feasible. Something that I'm sure most people will be aware of when it comes to architecture is having a composable architecture, and the speed and flexibility that you get from that is super important. So with Cloudinary, we pride ourselves on being a tool that is composable. It's all about choosing the right tool for the right step within that architecture. So when it comes to media management, media delivery, we consider ourselves to be the right tool to drop into that composable architecture. But you still need to have that architecture in place because you want to have that speed and flexibility to lift out one tool and drop in another one. So something that we've seen with some partners that we've worked with and some of the different architectures that we see that it's increasingly important to get that speed and flexibility from a composable architecture. Okay, so now I've kind of talked about visual media experience, I'm finally talking about AI, which is, I imagine, what most people are here to listen to. This is just to give a little bit of context about the importance of AI when it comes to scale, and how, when it comes to productivity, that's where you're going to see the most benefit. So when we were talking to developers and putting our reports together, at large scale, AI-based transformations are becoming increasingly helpful for better productivity. And as a result, 68% of the web developers that we survey say that the main benefit to them for AI is enabling that productivity and that efficiency. It's allowing them to get more done. You know, developers, you want to be writing code, you want to be doing things that are fun and interesting. You don't want to be sitting there doing menial tasks. And therefore, we want to be looking at how we can use these AI tools to really support the productivity and the efficiency. So that's kind of the main gist of where I'm going to be going with this talk. So in that sense, what can you do to help as a developer? And speaking specifically about media and media experiences, how can we use the tools that are there in the AI to cut down the man hours and just allow everyone to get more done, be more productive, focus on the fun stuff? Before I kind of go into any of the examples, just a quick note on SDKs. So with Cloudinary, we have SDKs in pretty much every single language. So whether you're working on backend stuff, we've got most of the main backend languages. We've got mobile SDKs. We've got front-end JavaScript SDKs, various frameworks. You can see we have Next.js. We've got tools for everything. This kind of screenshot doesn't necessarily show all of them. As you can see, we have like 12 more on there, but I'm pretty confident that you'll have an SDK that will work for you. The examples I'm going to show will be done in JavaScript, so where it's relevant on the back end, it will be showing our Node SDK, so code examples using our Node SDK, and anything on the front end will be showing examples using our JavaScript URL gen SDK. Cool. So I'm going to talk you through some image transformations using AI, and basically how you can use these image transformations to optimize and really deliver that great visual media experience at scale. Cool, so we'll start with AI background removal. We've been doing background removal for a while using AI now. It's kind of bread and butter for us. I'm sure most people have done background removal in some form. Most phones now support background removal kind of out of the box. So it's a pretty standard feature, but it's one that at scale is really, really important. It's probably one of our most used AI features. So let's take an e-commerce example. This is a very simple image that's been taken of a running shoe with a blue background. This could be, an image that your creative teams have gone and photo shoot, and they've taken product images, and this is what gets sent back to you. So the first step we can do is simply to just remove that background. Really important, really key feature for e-com. You want to be able to drop that image into any situation, put any background behind it. But we can also do something like this, where we can add a drop shadow. Just gives it a little bit more realism, makes it stand out a little bit more. But the key point is, once we've removed that background, we can pretty much do anything. We can lay that image onto any background, and we can drop it into any scenario. And for product images at scale, it is really important. It allows big e-commerce customers to define these transformations in advance and apply it to all of their product imagery, and not have to do this one by one using something like Photoshop. So let's take a look at the code for how to do this. As I mentioned before, this is using our URL gen SDK, JavaScript. Very simply, we're importing these two effects. Here we can see we're creating a new Cloudinary image. So this is a new instance of a Cloudinary image, and we're providing a public ID. So in this case, the white shoes, this is the ID of the image, the name of the image that's stored in Cloudinary. Some people go with that descriptive name, some people use random IDs, it's entirely up to you. And as I mentioned, this is at scale, so you can change the image that you're using that simply by just giving it a different ID, giving it a different name, and that same transformation will get applied in this instance, and you'll get that new Cloudinary image. And then we're just simply applying these two effects, so background removal, and then we're applying drop shadow. So 3 lines of code plus 1 line on imports. It's very quick, very short code. And at the bottom here, you can see the URL that gets generated as a response. So this would be the URL that you would use as the source for your image tag. So when you're adding that image to your site, you would simply just create an image tag and then set the source to the URL that's generated by the code there. This principle is basically going to be the same for all of the code examples. I'll obviously go into what the main transformations are, but this whole principle of importing the transformations, creating a Cloudinary image, giving it a public ID, and then defining the transformations, it will be the same throughout. So this one is a bit more exciting for me, and I think this is probably going to be our most popular AI-based transformation going forward alongside background removal. So this one is kind of the exact opposite in a sense. So let's take this image as our example. We've had a photo shoot, they've gone and they've taken images of our products, but they've taken them all in portrait mode. And the designer has come to you for your website and he said, I want all these to be displayed as banner images at the top of the product page. That is not really going to work for an image that's tall and narrow. You're going to have lots of either white space either side, or it's going to be weirdly stretched. It's not going to be a great experience. So traditionally, this is what we would have suggested to do. So we can take the predominant image of the predominant color of the image, and we can use that to pad out the extra width that we need. It looks okay. It's more professional than just trying to stretch it, but it's not amazing. So this is where AI comes in. So instead of just using that basic brown color, we can get AI to generate and pad out the background for us. No, this isn't necessarily a new thing, but when we consider that this is something that you can do at scale, so say you had hundreds of product pages with hundreds of product images, and they're all in portrait mode, and you want to fill out the background on all of them, it's simply these lines of code, and all you're doing is updating the image that you're applying that to, and then delivering that on your website. So this is one where I kind of really want to reiterate about the scale. These are transformations that you want to do at scale, and the idea is that you're able to do this over and over again without having one person sitting there manually creating all of these images for you. And that's where the real time and productivity and efficiency benefits come in, because you're able to set this up, configure it once, and every new page, every new product that you get in, you can apply the same thing to, and you can just forget about it and it will work and it will produce a great media experience. The next transformation that we have is recoloring. So once again, another photo of a product image. So this is a man in a very sharp suit, looking smart, but maybe we don't necessarily want to just offer that suit in one particular color. We might have 10 different fabrics that have 10 different colors, and we know exactly what those colors are. And instead of having to have that man take all the suits off and put them all on, We just want to be able to allow the user to select that color without having to go through that whole photo shoot process. So we can simply just change the color of the suit to be brown. Really easy, but really effective, really efficient. And this one takes a particular component of that image and you apply the recolor to that. So instead of the suit, we can change the tie color, and in this case, we can go for a nice pinky purple. But again, it's the idea that you can do this at scale. You can, if you know that all of the suits that you offer are all going to have the same colors, then you can allow that recoloring to happen on all the different images you have of the suits. So once again, it's about doing this stuff at scale. And here's the code for this one. So here we're basically applying the generative recolor effect. We're specifying the jacket as the object, and then we're just specifying the color that we want to change it to. So the next one is generative replace. Similar kind of principle here. I'm sure you can figure out what we're going to do with this one. In this case, I'm not overly happy with this example because there's no way I'd be replacing my cookies for an avocado. That seems like a pretty bad trade in terms of what tastes good. But yeah, simply with this one, the idea is you select an object from the image and you can easily replace it with another object. So there may be cases where you allow people to upload images that you're going to be using on your site, and you know that you never want to show an image of a cat. So you always want to replace it with something else. So you can configure this and say, apply a generative replace, and always replace a cat with a dog, because I prefer dogs to cats. So it's one of those where the use case is probably a little bit more narrow than the others, because you need to configure it a little bit more. But yeah, it's a nice one to allow you to change things up, and we could always have a coffee as well if we wanted to. So this is just a little looping video that shows you. So in this instance, we're able to show this model with different styles of sunglasses. So if you're offering that type of thing, then you can easily maybe allow your users to upload an image of their face, and they can see what their face would look like with different styles of sunglasses on, or something like that. So that's more of an application that you might want to use at scale. Once again, here's the code for that. So in this case, we have a method for from and for to. So we're specifying the cookies, and we were then wanting to change the cookies to be a coffee mug. Once again, very simple, short lines of code, and you can apply it to any of your images. Generative remove. So another one that's similar based off of that. So this is Tamash. This is my colleague who was originally meant to be presenting this, and it's him at another conference presenting. In this example, you might have product imagery, but you might have strict guidelines around showing brand logos. You might, not be able to show any brand logos, and to go through and manually edit all of your images to remove those things is quite boring, quite cumbersome, and it's going to take you a lot of time. So in this scenario, we can simply just remove it, and it's seamlessly removed. You would never know it was there in the first place. I kind of like the sleek non-Apple logo laptop look, but yeah, it's a simple one. But once again, it's about doing things at scale. It's about identifying where you can save time and where you know that you can apply these things over and over again to your assets. And here's the code for this one. You can probably tell that Tamash put this together because he's named his image Handsome Speaker. But we might actually want to take this one a little bit further and use some of the other tools. So we can take our Handsome Speaker and we can put him in a nice snappy suit, smarten him up a little bit. Probably not the most wise choice for wearing today, as it's pretty hot. So I probably wouldn't be wearing that. But yeah, this is using the replace again to show you some of the fun things that you can do. And we can go from one suit to another suit and make him into Superman. Yeah, as you can tell, these are the slides that Tamash put together. But yeah, in certain scenarios, he is a Superman. So 2 more examples here for images around image quality and fidelity. So taking low resolution, low quality images that you might have been provided and using AI to do upscaling and restoring of those images. So yeah, this is an example. This is a low quality image. You know, it's very blurry. It's hard to really make out any detail in there. And with one simple transformation, we can use a restore and we can use AI to improve the quality, to improve the fidelity of that image. And this might be something that you use and you identify in advance. If an image is going to be low resolution, then you can conditionally apply this transformation and say any images that are less than 300 pixels in resolution, then I always want to apply a restore. So simple one, but it's effective. And there we go. Yeah, it's just a simple effect that's applied. I had 1 line of code there. This one works in a similar way. So this is about upscaling images that are slightly higher resolution and initially still not great, but higher than the one I just showed you. And you want to be able to display these images at much higher resolutions on your website. You want to allow people to zoom in on the details and things like that. So here's a very small image that we've got. It's only a couple hundred pixels wide, which is, you know, not great if we want to have that as a big banner image on our website, or we want to put it as a focal point on one of our product pages. So in this case, this is the standard transformation that you might do. So we're taking the image, we're resizing it and scaling it up by a width of 4 times. So we're making this image 4 times larger, and that's what it looks like without any help. It's blurry, it's horrible, there's no detail, you can't make anything out. But by using an upscale effect instead, we can render that image at the same size, but with AI we've been able to fill in all of that detail and really bring out the fidelity and allow it to be used on your site in that much larger size. So this is one that, yeah, once again, you can really use at scale. You can apply this if you know that you're getting your source images are going to be low quality. If you might be allowing users to upload things into your account, but you might have a limit. You might say, you know, we don't want you to upload large images. We'll just do the upscaling ourselves. So you can save yourself a little bit of storage space there by compressing things first and then upscaling them as part of the delivery. So those were all kind of transformations that you can apply to your images using AI on the front end. So taking the existing images and applying various transformations, and you can change the experience and improve it and deliver that great visual media experience. I'm going to show a couple of things that are more back-end focused and how you can use AI to improve your productivity from a kind of management and more of a back-end side of things. So image captioning is all about using AI to identify the key components of an image and then creating a caption based on that image. So this is a couple of examples. Hopefully you can read this. So these sentences were automatically generated using AI as part of the upload process. Very accurately describe what is in that image. And this is a really important component when it comes to accessibility, because if you're not aware, providing alt text on your images is really important for people that are using screen readers. you can get penalized from an SEO perspective if you're not providing this, and your experience in general will be worse if you're not providing this alt text. Nobody wants to go and sit there and look at an image and manually write the alt text. It's time consuming, it's boring. So realistically, we just want to use AI. We want to be able to generate the caption using AI, and then we can, with our code, we can automatically apply that as the alt text. Once you've configured that and set it up, it'll work for every single image that you upload. You'll always have alt text. There'll always be a description of the image. It's a massive time save, but it's really important for accessibility reasons as well. So this is using our Node SDK. So this is code that you would use to upload. So in this instance, we're uploading the original image, which has that file name. So that might be a file stored in your file system, or it might be an image that you're taking from somebody uploading it. And then we're applying this detection. So this is actually an add-on, and captioning is part of that. So we were asking it to do captioning as the detection, and then it's obviously just logging the result. But once we've done that, we can have a look at the response. So once the image is uploaded, we'll get a response that details the things like the file name and the public ID that's been assigned, some IDs there, and then the key component here is this info object, which has a detection object and then captioning within that. And as you can see there, the caption is written there. So at this point, this is where you would maybe push that caption. If you were using a database to kind of manage the public IDs and the information there, you could push that into a database. Or what a lot of people will do is they'll use Cloudinary and they'll store that caption as metadata alongside that image, and then use that metadata as the alt text. Another backend component, so this is around using AI for searching for assets. So I mentioned earlier, we have some customers with millions of assets. They've got images and there's duplication and there's all sorts going on there. So the idea behind this one is basically being able to take an image and then do a search and find similar assets in your account based on the content of that image. Kind of a nice little tool, but if you know that, if you have product images, for instance, and you know that you've got an image of a dress, but you don't know where the other 20 images that came from that photo shoot of that dress are, you can upload the one that you've got and use visual search, and it will tell you all of the assets that it considers to be a match to that. And that allows you to much more easily find them. Because people don't always save things with logical names and things like that. This is an example showing it using the UI, but you can do this using code as well. So in this case, we're calling the Visual Search API. This one we're providing a remote URL, so that cup of coffee images is a image from Wikimedia. And then, as you can see, the response here is a set of resources, so a set of assets that are in your account that it considers to be a match based on the AI assessment of it. Cool. So we've gone through some of the features for images and some of the things you can do on the back end. Let's have a brief look at some of the AI-based transformations that you can do for videos. So I'm just going to play this. So my colleague Tomasz, actually, this is his video that he took. This is him underwater, so taking a video of fish and the sea life underwater. I think it's like 1.5 minutes long. Obviously, you can see here some of it's not particularly interesting. Some of it is quite interesting, but maybe we want to show a teaser of this instead, because we don't necessarily want people to have to watch the whole thing and see whether it's relevant for them. So what we can do is we can use AI and we can generate a preview. So In this case, what we're saying is we want to generate an AI preview with 15-second duration. And then as a result, we should now have a 15-second video, and the AI will pick out what it perceives as the most interesting few seconds, the 15 seconds, so it'll be different chunks of that original video, and it's all AI identified as what is considered to be the most important and most interesting parts of that video. So if you look here, within the 15 seconds, we've got a shark, which you might not have spotted on the original image, and I think we have another instance where a shark appears as well. So the AI was able to identify from that video the 2 instances of where a shark appeared, which for most people is probably more interesting than some of the other fish that were swimming around. So this is another one that's great to do at scale. You know, if you've got a bunch of videos in a video library and you want to show thumbnails with a little preview, you can automatically generate those previews, and it will always be centered around what it perceives to be the most interesting parts of that video. So this one is a little bit of the opposite of the generative fill background that I showed you for images earlier. So in this example, you can see we have a landscape video. This is just people kicking a football or soccer ball around. But maybe we want to produce this into a video for social media, like a reel on Instagram or something that's going to be shown on a phone in portrait. Obviously, if you try and show this landscape video in portrait on a phone, you're going to have a very narrow, a very short view, and you're going to be padded at the top and at the bottom, and it's going to look a bit odd. So we could do a crop. So in this case, we're using a 9:16 aspect ratio, and we're just simply cropping it by default. And as you can see, half of the time there's not much in the frame. It's not really showing anything, so not particularly useful. And that's the code to do that basic crop. But instead, what we can do is we can use AI, and we can select to focus on the ball in this instance. And as you can see, the crop will keep the ball and the people kicking the ball in the frame throughout the whole video. So it goes basically frame by frame, and it identifies what it considers to be important within that, and it will crop out on either side what it considers to be less important. And in this case, we're specifically targeting the ball as something to focus on. You don't have to specify an object to focus on. If you don't, it will automatically just decide what it thinks is the most important thing to keep within that crop. But once again, this use case is great for when you're going from landscape to portrait for the videos. In the past, I've actually done demos of this where using JavaScript on the phone, when the phone rotates, you can show the original video, and then if you rotate it back to being portrait, it will show the cropped version. So you'll always get a full screen experience, whether it's landscape or portrait on the phone. So this is another great one that you can apply once again at scale. So when it comes to using AI and taking advantage of AI, and with Cloud and Array, you know, the number of use cases are endless. The main benefits of enhancing that media experience come also when it looks at productivity, accessibility. You've also got that user and customer experience, and the experience for yourselves as a developer, and how it makes your life much easier to write the code for these things and set these things up in advance, and know that you're able to apply these things to multiple assets and not have to go in there and manually do these things one by one. So hopefully, as a result, by making your lives easier, you can focus on the other parts of your development. You can focus on being more creative and taking the time to think about how you can do great things and not worrying about the amount of time that you're having to spend manually cropping your images, or having to spend money going backwards and forwards with creative agencies and asking them to do things for you. So from a time and a cost saving perspective, it's really important. This is kind of just to let you know that what I've shown you today with AI is obviously a very small component of what Cloudinary offers. It's meant to supplement the kind of base functionality that we have, which is around optimizing your media assets, transforming them, and then providing delivery via CDNs. It's a supplementary feature. I would recommend having a look around at some of the resources that I'm going to share in a second. Have a play around with some of the things. We have demos, so pretty much all of these things that allow you to upload your own images, try them out, have a play around with the Gen AI stuff, and see what you can create. And it's a really interesting time for us. It's really great for us to be able to offer these AI things and hopefully empower you guys as developers to provide really great media experiences, and hopefully you'll understand the importance of those. And I will not keep you guys too much longer from going home, as I recognise it's the end of the day and everyone's getting tired. Thank you very much.